Okay, I thought I'd take a moment and make a video and explain why I chose some of the photographs that I did that hang on my wall. And it turned out to kind of tell a story without me really trying to make it tell a story, but of course it does. So we begin with the first one. These are my footsteps in the white sands, New Mexico. And the footsteps lead into me, not away. A little bit of a story behind that. I'll try and explain it later. Then we have a photograph of a waterfall at Kent Pond in Vermont. One of my most favorite places on the earth now that I've been to. Miss it quite a bit, and I will return. The photograph to the right of that one is white sands again, and it's just the sand without any footprints. The sand in a clear blue sky. Nice cool morning until I got lost, and then it got warm, and I didn't have any water, but I learned. We come back to Kent Pond again, a little bit further down from that waterfall, where the water finally spills out into actual Kent Pond. Wonderful place. Oh, and there's a little bit of my Dr. Pepper stuff that I've finally been able to put out. Thanks to somebody I know who gave me a lovely piece of furniture. Thank you. Worked out perfect. This photograph is in Fire Valley in Utah. Really cool place. It was like being on Mars. All the red rock and the blue sky. And I got really fortunate when I was out on those journeys that the skies cooperated famously. Great contrast. Nice detailed clouds every single day. That leads us around to this wall, which is mostly in this area, Vermont, but also Corpus Christi. It's either the T head or the L head, downtown Corpus, I can't remember. And of course the upper three photographs are from my front yard when I lived there. In the snow, one day I woke up and everything was just white. Everything. The sky, the ground, the trees, the buildings. I couldn't reproduce it in a photograph the way that it was while I was there, but it was magnificent. And then on the bottom right, there again is Kent Pond looking in another direction, actually out onto the pond with the waterfall behind me now. I spent a lot of time down there. And as we come around to the kitchen, that is in New Mexico, the car. It's actually where Route 66 used to be many years ago. And it was abandoned there a long time ago, and there it sat. They've somewhat turned it into an art piece. That is, I believe, at the Petrified Forest. Then the next photograph to that one is at one of our customers' yards in Vermont. And I believe those folks lived somewhere near, I can't remember. It may have been near Woodstock, Vermont, not New York. I don't remember specifically anymore. Then on the upper decks there above the cabinets are most of my albums. And one of my most favorite photographs that I've ever taken is actually taken in Flagstaff, Arizona at Mr. D's diner, right on Route 66. I have a thing about Route 66 and what it used to stand for, and automobiles and driving and being able to take proper road trips when you actually had to stop and get fuel and eat, and it took forever to get anywhere, and the trip was 50% of the fun. At least going. Coming back might be a different story for most of you, but anyway. And my kitchen. And then these two photographs over here. The first one is actually a close-up of a droplet of water. The next one, oh, and it has been tinted red on purpose. The next one is a old mill that's no longer in use, of course, but it is in Minden, Vermont, which was about 2 miles down the road from where I lived. I would go down there quite a bit when they were closed. There was a restaurant next to it. And I would just sit and hang out and take photographs day after day. And from that photograph, that leads us right back to where we started in this room, with my footprints leading back into me. And in this room, the first thing we have is a hand-painted portrait done by one of my friends where I used to work. And I traded her use of some of my photographs for her to paint from if she would do a portrait for me. I'm so conceited, of course I wanted a portrait of myself. What else? The next photograph is Gallup, New Mexico. And luckily enough, going to Gallup is what led me to Zion National Forest. And there's a photograph coming up of Zion in just a moment. And here again we are in Fire Valley in Utah. And that third photograph there is Elephant Rock. If you look for just a second, you can see quite plainly why it's called that. And that last photograph over there is Gallup, New Mexico again. Wonderful place. Met an older gentleman, a Native American. He's the one who recommended that I go to this place. This is a photograph of Zion. And this is where things changed in my thought process. And I decided, I don't want to do this anymore. I want to do something better. So, that is now my path, to do something better. Not necessarily for the world, for me. Then the last three photographs we have is my car that I no longer have, my Mustang, I miss it. A cactus in New Mexico, and Zion again. The only other thing that's hanging on the walls at the moment, eventually there will be two of my guitars up there. We'll get to that in a second, but are my flutes. All the ones on the top are Native American. The ones in the middle are Central and South America. Towards the bottom they get Chinese. And then the bottom two are just toys, but it doesn't matter. They make sound. That's all that counts. Okay, now there's only really two photographs in the restroom, bathroom. There's a clock on the wall back here that you can't see, but it's not important. But the photograph in the reflection in the mirror is actually Corpus Christi. And the other above the towel rack, is a picture of my sister. Now, the picture of my sister leads us to this instrument right here. This is my favorite guitar that I've ever had. It's my American-made Fender Stratocaster, made in California. It's a Strat Deluxe or a Strat Plus, depending on who you ask. And it was a 40th anniversary edition. I purchased this guitar in a pawn shop in Abilene. I would take my sister on road trips every now and then because she didn't get out very much, and it was a good way to just get her out of the house and have something to do, and she was just a hell of a lot of fun to be with. So anyway, we went to Easy Pawn and looking around, and I saw this hanging on the wall. It was kind of expensive and didn't have any money, but she's like, go ahead, put it on layaway. You'll pay for it. And I did, much to the regret or anger or whichever words you can find, that my wife was none too happy about at that time. But with her help I did get it out, and I've had it ever since. That's, I don't know, like 14 years ago maybe, at least 11. And this guitar here recently has been in Illinois for about a year. And now it's back with me. But the reason that I mention this is because this guitar has never had a name. Most guitarists name their guitars. Eric Clapton named one of his Blackie. B.B. King named his Lucille. Stevie Ray Vaughan had number one. And Lenny. And I think the other one was Butterscotch. Can't remember. It was kind of a yellowy colored guitar. But anyway, there again, my sister comes back into the story because she went on a road trip with us to Austin one time. We went to Ray Henning's House of Music, and Ray Henning is where Stevie Ray Vaughan used to buy guitar strings and miscellaneous stuff when he was first starting out. And Jan kind of chatted with this gentleman for a little while, and he gave me a photograph. And Stevie Ray Vaughan was like one of my favorite guitarists of all times. He and David Gilmour are the reason I prefer Stratocaster guitars. I like the shape of them, the feel and the sound, the weight, everything's balanced for me. But I'm going to ask you all a favor. I kind of had a name in mind for this guitar, but I just want to ask random ideas. Most time people name their guitars after something that the guitar signifies or someone they knew. Like Lenny, Steve Ray's guitar was named Lenny after his wife because his wife Lenny gave it to him on his birthday. I'm not quite sure what to call this one. The other Strat does have a name, and it's quite obvious why it has a name. This one is named after one of David Gilmour's songs, The Blue. And of course the reason it's the blue is, even though under this light it probably looks green, it's actually blue. Deep blue. But anyway, help me out if you can. Help me name my nameless guitar. Thanks. Later.